So today we're going to get a little personal. I am sharing a story about how saying yes to my marriage and yes to my husband changed everything for my marriage and my business. If you've ever struggled with balancing finances, family, and entrepreneurship, this episode is for you. Let's dive into how your why can drive everything in your life and your business.
Hey y'all, Alyece Smith here, and welcome to the Socially Ausome Podcast, where we empower mompreneurs to implement simple social media strategies into their businesses and elevate their online presence. I'm a mompreneur of three, an affiliate marketer, a network marketer, an influencer, a social media marketing agency owner, and your personal guru. I am here to give you tips, tricks, and tools that you need to build your social media business. Let's dive in. Hey, welcome back to the Socially Ausome Podcast. Alyece Smith here. Today we're going to get a little vulnerable, but I am going to share something with you, and I want you to, of course, listen. I mean, I wouldn't be recording this if I didn't want you to listen, but I want you to take this and go back and really dig a little bit deeper into your why. Right? Because your why drives everything in your business. You've heard that. I'm not the first person to tell you that. But I'm going to tell you what happened to me today. And, you'll kind of, I think it'll make more sense by the end of the episode. So there's a lot of content online, a lot of creators online that talk about wanting to be a yes mom. And not that I don't want to be. Obviously, I want to give my kids everything. But let's be real. In your life and your relationships, 9 times out of 10, everything revolves around the kids, right? And then when they graduate and they move out and you're empty nesters, it's just you and the spouse hanging out, right? So you got to like each other. You got to love each other. You got to have a relationship, right? So I'm driving home. I got a 3-hour drive home right now, and thought to myself, you know what? I don't really have that desire to be the yes mom. I mean, obviously that mom is there, right? I want to be able to give my kids things, but I really want to be a yes wife. And I want to tell you, just take it back a notch here. So my husband and I met when I was in college, sophomore in college, and he already had a really good job. He was not in school, but he made more money than I ever thought I would be able to make. And he worked in the oil field. So at that time when we met, he would be gone 2 weeks at a time. And he was home 2 weeks, gone 2 weeks, vice versa. Fast forward a few years later, he gets home with a new company and, basically doubles what he was making. So, now we're talking about way more money than I ever imagined, and ends up working 3 weeks. So he would be home 3 weeks, gone 3 weeks, home 3 weeks, gone 3 weeks. And it was just the lifestyle that we lived, right? But what happened was we had a lot of things throughout our marriage that have cost a lot of money. Infertility treatment, a lot of medical expenses that were unexpected, some other personal things that unfortunately were out of our control. They weren't optional, but they cost us thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars. And what happened was, even though there was a lot of money coming in, and yes, we probably overspent, there was a lot of money that was going out. And I just always had this guilt feeling, even though it wasn't like I was doing it to him. I always had this guilt feeling when I would have to tell him no, because for the longest time after I graduated college, we were married. I worked for a while in insurance sales. And then that was about the time we decided we wanted to start trying to have a baby. And when I started going through infertility treatment, I was having to go, an hour one-way drive 3 times a week. So he was like, look, you really don't need to work. I make plenty. So that's about the time I became a stay-at-home mom. I did some part-time work, but never really I was not the one paying the bills. Let's just keep it at that. Okay. But I was the one that did the budgeting, paid the bills, did the bank statements, all those things. So even though it wasn't like I was doing it to him, I was always the one that had to say, no, we can't afford that right now. And I'm not sitting here, telling you that, we didn't live a great life. There were times that were really worse because during, COVID, obviously, for most people. And then even before COVID, the oil field is very volatile. So there
there would be 6-month periods where he was laid off completely. And then I'm scrounging trying to get a job. And it was crazy. Long story short, for so many years, I had to say no to a lot of things. And I always just had this guilt, right? Even though it wasn't my fault, I would just see how disappointed he was. It's like he would go to work for almost a month, come home, want to buy something, and I'd have to be like, sorry. And so I know inside he felt like, what the hell am I even working for? Right? We can't even live at all. And he never said that at all out loud, but you could just see the disappointment in his eyes, right? And then on the flip side of that, he's never told me no. I'm not a very materialistic type person usually, but if I wanted a new pair of shoes or the fertility treatment, I wanted to do one more round, and obviously he wanted that baby too, but he could see I was just like, I know it's a lot more money, but I just one more shot, and that third shot brought us our baby Caden. So I'm so glad I did that. But the point is, he was willing to sacrifice his wants to make sure everyone else in our house was happy. So today, his 40th birthday is exactly 1 month from today. He'd kill you if he knew I was advertising that. But he's been looking at conversion vans, okay? So we are now officially van people, FYI. Didn't trade in my car or anything like that, my SUV, but he had been wanting to get a conversion van because he really wants to take longer road trips with the kids. So Yellowstone, we want to go up the East Coast, all of those things, and just so much more comfortable to travel in. We're looking at these things on Facebook Marketplace, and for a while I was like, oh, we're going to scoop one of those up like super cheap. No, girl, they're not cheap, okay? They are way over Blue Book value these days because so many people want them. But we're looking, and he finally finds one 3 hours from our house. He wants to go look at it. And, at first I kind of go back to my old money mindset ways, and I'm like, I don't know if this is a good idea. We really shouldn't be spending this, all the things. And on the drive up there, I said, you know what? For so many years, he said yes to everyone else. And it's my turn, right? It's my turn. And again, not that I don't want to say yes to my kids, but the light in his eyes when I'm able to say, you know what, I could pay for that. I could pay for that in cash. I could take it out my business. My business made that in cash, and we can buy it. And I don't say this to impress you. I say this to impress upon you that, one, don't feel like your why has to be the same reason as everyone else's. There's nothing wrong with you if that's not the case, okay? Buying a 12-year-old van is probably not anyone else's why right now, okay? But today it was mine because my husband was so excited. He's behind me somewhere driving that van and just so ready to get home and wash it and all the things. And he can't wait for us to take our family road trip. And that just gives me joy. It really just gives me joy. And it makes me want to keep sharing my story with others, because where you are right now is not where you will be forever. And a decade ago, there was absolutely no way I could pull out 5 figures from the bank and go pay cash for something. It wouldn't have happened. Even with the amount of money he was making, it wasn't possible. We didn't have 5 figures in the bank. And today I was able to get his 40th birthday present. I definitely told him that is his birthday present, like 100%. But my point is, don't be afraid to share your why, even if it's different, even if you don't think it's big enough for other people. And there's been so many things that I've been able to say yes to or treat him to in the last 2.5 years of my business that we never could have done before. Adultcations where it's just him and I. We get to go to that dinner that we used to only be able to go to once a year because it's that expensive place. And we get to do that for special occasions now, multiple times a year. Like, it doesn't have to be about Range Rovers and Louis Vuittons, right? It's about those experiences. And I can't even envision the experiences that my family and I are going to create in this hoopty ass van that I'm sure is going to look like the A-team here shortly when my husband gets his hands on it. But I had to share that with you because you need to know your why so that it drives you, and you need to be comfortable sharing it with others. So, very different episode for me today, but I really hope this inspires you to dig a little deeper. And what do you really want, right? What do you really want? So as always, if you got any value out of this episode at all, please subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review. It is the absolute best compliment that you can give. As always, take a screenshot of you watching this, throw it in your stories, tag me at socially.awesome. I want to share you with my audience. I want to celebrate you working on your business, educating yourself for your business. And if you're not already in our Facebook community, Socially Awesome Entrepreneurs, I've got that linked in the show notes for you. Go live every Wednesday at NOON CST. All the recordings are in there, but we do weekly tips, tricks, and trainings to help you grow your business online because you are worth it. So until next time, make it simple, make it social, and make it awesome.